Hi, in this particular playlist we're going to be looking at the November 2018 Edexcel Foundation Paper 3. And the previous two playlists we've looked at paper 1 and paper 2, so this one is the final one in this series. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions and then compare your solutions. I hope you find the videos useful. If you're not sure about anything, please do add a comment below. I'll always come back to you, add a like, it's really appreciated, and I'll look forward to seeing you inside the videos. Hi, this is the second video in the playlist where we're looking at the November 2018 Paper 3 for Edexcel. It is the foundation tier. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions and then compare your solutions. I'm going to aim for this video to be roughly about 20 to 30 minutes long or so. It should give you the opportunity to have around about an hour's worth of fairly focused revision. So in the previous video we completed through to question number 16. We're going to be looking at question number 17 onwards. Okay, so this one diagram shows a pentagon. Pentagon has one line of symmetry. Okay. All right, don't know why they've told us that, but it's got one line of symmetry, which basically is this line down here. So if you can imagine, if you folded it in two, it would be the same both halves. Okay, so A to E we're saying is 4x, so let's write that in. Okay, then it says A to B is 2x plus 1. Okay, well, if A to B is 2x plus 1, then it also means D to E is exactly the same because it's the same size, both sides. Because it's got one line of symmetry, it must be, I've just realised why they've told us that. The reason that they've told us that is they're basically saying that this line and this line must be the same in order for it to have one line of symmetry. Okay, so BC is x plus 2. Okay, well, same reasoning applies with C to D, is that must also be x plus 2, okay, because it's the same. When you fold it in half, it'll be the same. Okay, all these measurements are given in centimetres. Perimeter of the pentagon is 18 centimetres. Show something, show that. So all we mean by that is that the perimeter is basically this measurement adding up all of these sides. Okay, so if we start from here, we're going to go A to B is 2x plus 1. Then we're going to go B to C, which is plus x plus 2. C to D plus x plus 2. Again, D to E is going to be plus 2x plus 1, and then back to the starting point by adding 4x. And when we add all of that together, we're going to get 18. So all we're looking at really is just simplifying that and making it look like 10x plus 6. Okay, equals 18. So let's look at the x terms. Well, we've got 2x, 3x, 4x, 6x plus 4x is going to be 10x. And then we've got 1 plus 2 is 3, 5, 6 plus 6 equals 18. Okay, so it looks a little bit daunting when you look at these ones right at the very beginning, but actually they usually write these things down for a reason. So the one line of symmetry thing is just demonstrating it's the same. And also, you know, don't get fazed by all the kind of x's and numbers knocking around. It will simplify down to what it is they're looking for. Then it says find the value of x. So 10x plus 6 equals 18. What is the value of x itself? Okay, so this is linear algebra. Does show up on all of the papers, not just foundation, but also higher as well. So please do have a go at each of these type of questions and get yourself familiar with linear equations. Very, very worthwhile. Okay, so I'm going to minus 6 on both sides. If I do that, I lose that and I get 10x equals 18 minus 6 is going to be 12. Okay, so if 10 lots of x are 12, then all I do to get x is I divide both sides by 10. Okay, if I divide this by 10, I lose that and I get x equals 12 divided by 10, which is going to be 1.2. So x is 1.2. So if you wanted to find out the actual measurement of these size, then you would just substitute x. So this would be 2 times 1.2, which is 2.4, plus 1, which is 3.4. So this measurement here would be 3.4. And you could do the same for all the other measurements as well, if you wanted to. Okay, although that's not part of the question. Okay, so let's have a look then at question number 18. So question number 18, Trevor buys a boat. Oh, lucky Trevor, I like boats. Okay, so Trevor buys a boat. The cost of the boat is massively underpriced at 14,200. They're usually a lot more expensive than that, plus VAT at 20%. Okay, so depending on what sort of boat you have. Okay, my sort of boat going to be a lot more than that. Okay, but I can't afford it. All right, so so if I want to add 20% VAT, basically I've got to look at 14,200 plus 20%. Okay, now there's a couple of ways in which you could do this. You could work out 10%, then double it, and then add it and all that sort of stuff. I tend to prefer, if I can, to use decimals because they're just a little bit more flexible with these sorts of calculations. So I've got 14,200 and I'm going to increase this by 120%. Well, the decimal equivalent of 120% is going to be multiplying by 1.2. So that's going to give me a total amount of 17,040. If you're not sure about what I've done there, please do have a look at the channel. There are playlists on working with percentages and decimals. Please do have a look at those videos as well. Okay, so he's paid a deposit of £5,000. Okay, so if we say 17,040 minus £5,000 means that he's got a balance left to pay of £12,040. Okay, and he's going to pay that over 10 installments. So the amount of each of the installments is going to be 12,040 divided by 10. So this is the installments. Okay, can't remember if it's double L or one L. I think it's two L's. Okay, all right, let's not worry about that. We'll gloss over my spelling of the word installment. Okay, so it would be better to write this as 12040 divided by 10, because all we do then is we move the decimal point one place, and if we do that, we're going to get a value for each of the installments of £1,204. Okay, so his instalment value is 1204. Presumably that's monthly. It doesn't actually say, but I guess it's going to be monthly. Okay, so let's have a look then at question number 19. Please do stop the video. Have a go at each of the questions, and if you're not sure about any of those, always add a comment below and I will come back to you. And if you can like the video, I'd really appreciate it. It keeps YouTube and me happy and motivated. Okay, so write down possible values of y for this this integer. So basically we've got on a number line, let's have a look at the first one then. On a number line, show the inequality x is less than 4. Okay, well, when you're doing these sorts of inequalities on number lines, you've got to remember that this is an open circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an open circle in there, okay, because it's just showing less than, it's not included, okay, so therefore it's going to be less than. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's have a look then at part B. Write down all the possibles of y, values of y. Well, what we're saying is y is greater than 3, but it's going to be less than or equal to 7. So the possible values of y would be 4, because it's greater than 3, and then 5, 6, and it includes 7. Now, the important thing also I've just remembered is that it does say the word integer. So this is one of those words, it just means a whole number. Okay, so if we read that through, y is a whole number which is bigger than 3 and less than or equal to 7. So therefore it must be either 4, 5, 6 or 7 itself. Okay, let's have a look at the next one then, which is, it's a linear equation really. Okay, treat it in much the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the value of x. And what we're going to say is the problem I've got here is I've got this plus 5 here, I've got an x over there. So I've got to be very careful about how I do things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this plus 5. So I'm going to say 3x. And if I minus 5 from both sides, 3x is greater than or equal to x minus 5. 17 minus 5 is going to be plus 12. Okay, that's all right, hopefully with everybody. Okay, next one then is I need to get my x here onto this side. So I'm going to minus x from this side. That means that and that go. And I get minus x here, so that's going to be 2x is greater than or equal to 12. Okay, then I'm going to divide through by 2. So if I divide through by 2, I get x is greater than or equal to 6 because I've got to divide through 2 each side. Okay, hopefully that's okay for you. So that would be the answer to this particular question. We're going to solve it and we're going to say in that case, if all of this is true, then x is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's move on then to question number 20. So question number 20 is going to be numbers correct to significant figures and working out a calculator display. Okay, so 7,357 correct to 3 significant figures. Well, let's have a look at the third significant figure, which is the number 5. Okay, that's the third number. Does that change? Well, yes, it does, because the number after it is greater than 5. So when we're looking at rounding or correcting to 3 significant figures, the number after is the most important for us. In this particular case, it's bigger than 5. So therefore, we're going to write this as 7, 3, and 5 here becomes 6, but we've got to make sure that we maintain the decimal value. It's got to stay in the same decimal place, so it's going to become 60. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Again, have a look on the channel. There are playlists on significant figures. Okay, next one then. Write down all the figures. Well, this is one of those questions. I personally tend to use the fraction key, as I've probably mentioned in other videos. If you use the fraction key and type this in its entirety, be very careful how you type it in. Don't use unnecessary brackets or pluses or minuses or whatever. just type it in as it is on the fraction key. You should, okay, get 0.10779 81356, okay, depending on what sort of calculator you've got. All right, hopefully that's okay for you. Let's move it on to question number 21. Okay, so question number 21. Last year, Joe paid that much for car insurance. I wish. Okay, this year she has to pay that for her car insurance. Oh dear. Poor old Joe. Okay, work out the percentage increase in the cost of her car insurance. So basically, this is a formula you need to remember, that percentage increase is difference over original multiplied by 100. Okay, so this is the fractional increase, and this multiplied by 100 will make it the percentage increase. So the difference between what she pays this year and last year is going to be 883, take away 245. Okay, and what she paid last year, which is the original, is 245. I think Joe has probably been had an accident or something, so I do feel sorry for her. Okay, so we're going to multiply that by 100, pop all that into a calculator, and she's got a massive increase of 260.40816 ... percent. So poor Joe has got 260% increase in her car insurance. Okay, gosh, I do feel sorry. Okay, so let's move on then to question number 22. We're about 14 minutes into the video. I'm going to aim for about 20, 30 minutes, something like that. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions. Should give you about an hour's worth of fairly focused revision. Okay, so complete this table of values for y equals x squared plus x minus 4. Well, if you're using a scientific calculator and your teacher's shown you how to do this, you could actually use the calculator to work all of these out. But perhaps, I don't know, if you haven't or you've not been shown, then what you can do is you can say, well, when x is minus 3, I'm going to say, rather than writing y equals x squared plus x minus 4, I'm going to use brackets. So minus 3 squared plus minus 3 minus 4. So minus 3 squared is going to be 9, okay? Plus minus, so that's going to be minus, so 9 minus 3 is 6, and then 6 minus 4 is going to give me an answer of 2. Okay, you might have a slightly different way of doing this, but hopefully this will give you the same answer. Okay, so next one then is, well, when x equals 0. Well, that's fairly straightforward because we're saying it's basically 0 squared, which is 0, plus 0, which is, so that little bit there is going to be 0. Just get left with minus 4. Okay. Next one then, when y equals, beg your pardon, when x equals 2. So again, I'm going to say, rather than writing y equals x squared plus x minus 4, I'm going to write 2 in brackets. So 2 squared plus 2 minus 4. Okay, so 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 2 is going to be 6, and 6 minus 4 is going to be 2. So it's 2 again, okay. And the same exercise when x equals 3. Again, I tend to prefer to write the full equation down, just really because I think it's neater. It shows the examiner what it is you're trying to do, okay, and you might get some marks for working even if you get the calculation incorrect. So 3 squared is going to be 6. No, it's not. It's going to be 9. 9 plus 3. Okay, serves me right for talking at the same time. So 9 plus 3 is going to be 12, and 12 minus 4 is going to be 8. And that's 8. Okay, now what I do know that this is that this is a quadratic equation. So because it's a quadratic equation, it's actually going to have quite a nice curve on it. Okay, so let's have a look at how we can plot these points. Now, it's going to be a little bit tricky on the video, but I'll just try and skip backwards and forwards. So let's have a look at the first one. I've got, the first one is minus 3, 2. Okay, so I'm going to go along the corridor minus 3. I'm going to go up to 2. Now, just be very careful because this is 5 on here. So what that means is that if this is 5, 1 is 2 little blocks and 2 is 4 little blocks. Okay, so that's going to be that point there. Okay, next one is minus 2, minus 2. Okay, so minus 2, and again down to 4 little blocks is going to be there. Okay, we've got minus 1, minus 4, so that's going to be about there. Okay, next one then we've got minus 4, 0 is going to be here. Okay, you might want to refer back to your notes or refer back to the grid at the top. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm just plotting each of these points. Okay, so the next little bit, just be very careful about the y-axis there. They've deliberately done that and made it a little bit trickier for you. So the next one is going to be 1 minus 2 is going to be about 4 blocks in, sorry, is going to be there. Okay, 2, 2. Okay, so that's 2, 2. Okay, 1, 2 is going to be there. Okay, and then 3, 8 is going to be, about, that's 9, 8 is going to be 4 blocks down, so that's going to be there. Okay, now you'll soon see if one of your plot marks is incorrect because it will look a little bit wonky. What you should get is a nice smooth curve. I'm doing this on the video, so a little bit trickier to do. Oh dear me, a little bit trickier to do on the video. Okay, but you'll get something like that. Okay, and that will give you a nice smooth curve for a quadratic equation. Then it says use the graph to estimate a solution to that. So what we basically mean is that this is where the value of y is 0. So we've gone along the corridor and we've not gone up the stairs or down the stairs. So what they mean by this is find these values. So this one here and this one here. So the first value is going to be where x equals, I get it as 1.6. Okay, but they will give you a little bit of leeway on this. Okay, and also minus 2.6. Okay, I know strictly speaking, my graph is slightly doesn't show that, but that's because I did this outside of this particular video and my drawing was a little bit better. Okay, so you might get a question like that. It is well worthwhile just remembering that for that extra 1 mark. Okay, so we're 20 minutes into the video. We're going to carry on then for question number 23. Okay, and question number 23 is looking at a bar chart that shows the amount of information, or amount of books bought by each of 40 students. Okay, so let's have a look then at number of students who bought between 0 and 4 books. So again, it's one of those really tricky kind of axes that you've got to be careful of. But actually, if you look at that, it's halfway along here. So between 10 and 12 means that between 0 and 4 students bought only 11 books, or rather 11 students bought only between 0 and 4 books. Okay, 5 to 9 books were bought by 8 students. Okay, 10 to 14 books were bought by 13 students. Okay, 15 to 19 books, that's a lot of books, were bought by 6 students, and then 20 to 24 books were bought by 2 students. Okay, now if I add up 11 plus 8 plus 13 plus 6 plus 12 plus 2, what I should get is 40 altogether. So work out the percentage of those students that bought 20 or more books. Well, it's only a fairly small percent. It's actually 2 out of 40 students. And if we want to convert that to a percentage, all we do is we multiply by 100. So the fraction is 2 out of 40 students. Okay, multiplied by 100, and that's going to give us 5%. So 5% of the students bought between 20 and 24 books. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of it. Now I'm going to be moving backwards and forwards here, going to be a little bit careful. So show that an estimate for the average number of books bought is 9.5. Okay, so what we're saying is that if we go back to the bar chart itself, okay, we've got 11 students who bought between 0 and 4 books. So if 11 students bought between 0 and 4 books, what we actually say is that they all bought the midpoint. They all bought an average number of books. So what we're doing is an average of an average, if you like. So what we're saying is that they must have bought an average of 2 books each. Okay, so in other words, the total amount of books that they bought between 0 and 4, if all of them bought 2 books, would be 22 books. Okay, now I appreciate I'm doing this on the wrong page, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you how the calculation is for these kind of estimate for the mean number of books. So let's look at the students who bought 5 to 9 books. We're going to assume that each of them bought 7 books. They bought the middle number between 5 and 9. So the middle number is 7. 8 times 7 is going to be 56. So we're assuming that each of those bought 7 books. And so the whole process goes on. For the next bar, we're going to say 13 students bought 12 books. They bought an average. Okay, so 12. So 13 times 12 is 156 books. Okay, and then 6 students who bought between 15 and 19. Let's say that they all bought 17 books each, which is the midpoint, which is 102. Okay, 17 times 6 is 102. And then finally, the 2 students between 20 and 24, they bought 22 books each. Okay, so they bought 22 books each. So that's going to be 2 times 22 is 44. Okay, so we've got those numbers, and that really, each of these is representative of the total number of books bought by the whole 40 students. Okay, so to work out an average, a mean average, what we say is that we've got total divided by number, okay, equals the mean. Okay, it's the way I remember it. I appreciate you might have it slightly differently. And as we've done with each of those, the total is the midpoint. Okay, so if we go back, the midpoint of 2 multiplied by the number or the frequency. So your teacher might say something like, oh, it's midpoint times frequency. It is, but what we're saying is that the midpoint is the average number of books within that particular group of 11 students. Okay, so the total number then is going to be 22 plus 56 plus 156 plus 102 plus 44. So again, that is all the books that have been bought all together, 22 plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that. Okay, and that is divided by 40 students in total. Okay, now if I pop that into a calculator, what I'm going to get is 9.5. So out of the 40 students, the average number, the mean number of books bought is going to be 9.5 books. Okay, so a little bit of a tricky one there, particularly also because we were swapping from page to page. It was a bit more difficult to show on the video, but I hope it's been useful to you. If you're not sure about any of these, always put a comment below in the video. I'll always come back to you. And also have a look at the channel, because I'm sure there are questions on very similar sorts of or videos on very similar sorts of questions. I hope it's been useful. Please do add a like if you got this far in the video. I'm really very impressed. That's really good work, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we're going to start from question number 24.